see the red light. Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Good.
Gotta get my stuff in. Expecting more people.
I told you the lady was
Oh, yeah, yeah.
talking about executive session. Some guy answered because it's the lot across from the train tracks that they were going to do condos on.
Well, the person that typically answers all the Village of Bartlett is Scott.
I know, but this is just some
Somebody
random
else?
guy. Yeah, so it's like the best kept secret. It's just,
Wow.
so like, how does this guy know? Maybe he was just guessing and got lucky.
Wow. Good. How are you? What's your speaker?
And this isn't going to take as long as I thought. I'd like to call to order the Bartlett Plan Commission for November 14th, 2019 at 7 p.m. Will the Secretary call the roll?
Jim Lemberg,
Here.
Mark Hopkins, Tim Ridenauer, John Miasso.
Here.
Gary Callis,
Here.
Diane Nagel. Here. Dan Gunstein. Here. Austin Hopkins.
Here.
Jack Allen.
Here.
Next item on the agenda is the approval of the September 12th, 2019 meeting minutes. So moved.
Second.
Is there any additions or corrections? Secretary call the roll?
John Miasso,
Yes.
Jerry Callis,
Yes.
Diane Nagel,
Abstain.
Dan Gunstein. Austin Hopkins,
Yes.
Jack Allen.
Yes.
Jim, do you want to vote or no?
If we need it,
1, 2. Nope, we don't need you. We're good.
it's a yes. Next item is number 19-12, 120 Live at 120 West Bartlett Avenue, special use permits to allow restaurant with alcohol service, outdoor seating, and live entertainment indoor and outdoor. This is a public hearing. Do we have the notifications?
We do.
We do. Okay, if anyone in the audience is going to have a comment or a question We have some forms back there where the clock is. We'd like to have you fill that out and turn it into staff. And when we open up to the public, we'll call your name, and at that time, you can step up to the podium there and say what you'd like to say.
3 minutes.
Okay, Renee, would you like to give us some background?
Yes, I will. I will give you some background information, and then I'm going to turn the floor over to Dana Bowman, one of the petitioners that's in the audience tonight, and she'll make a short presentation. The petitioner is proposing to renovate the property at 120 West Bartlett in order to establish a restaurant with alcohol service, an outdoor seating area, and to offer live entertainment indoor and outdoor. In order to establish this business, the petitioner is requesting site plan approval and 3 special use permits. The first is the restaurant serving alcohol. The second is to allow the outdoor seating. And the third is to allow live entertainment indoor and outdoor. The interior of this building is being substantially renovated to create the restaurant and an entertainment area where activities like karaoke will be offered. The exterior will be improved with an outdoor dining area immediately adjacent to the building. There's improvements planned for the front facade, including the installation of new lights and new signage. A new dumpster enclosure will be constructed in the rear of the building and some on-site landscaping improvements. The outdoor seating area will be enclosed with an 8-foot tall solid composite fence that has a gray stone appearance around 3 sides, and then the side along Bartlett Avenue will be an open style, picket style aluminum fence so that there's visibility of the seating area from the Bartlett Avenue sidewalk. The anticipated hours of operation for the business are 8 a.m. until 1 a.m. weeknights and 10 a.m. until 2 a.m. Friday and Saturday. The staff is recommending, though, that all outdoor entertainment end before 11 p.m. Monday through Saturday and before 10 p.m. on Sunday. The reason those hours were chosen is because it's consistent with our amplifier regulations. The petitioner is also requesting variations for the number of parking spaces, the amount of open space, and the size of their signage. A public hearing to review those variation requests was held last Thursday night, November 7th, by the Zoning Board of Appeals, and the Zoning Board of Appeals voted unanimously to recommend approval of those variations. The staff is recommending approval of the petitioner's request for site plan and special use permits, subject to the conditions and finding of facts as laid out in the staff memo. Now I'll turn the floor over to Dana Bowman so she can make her presentation.
Just a minute, please. Your petitioner, anyone else going to give testimony this evening along with the petitioner? I need to swear you in. You swear testimony you're about to give is true and accurate to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
Thank you.
So I'd just like to introduce myself. My name is Dana Bowman. I'm here with my parents, Jim and Mary Ann Bowman, and we together bought the property at 120 Bartlett Avenue. Just to give you a little bit of background, we have a lot of experience in the bar restaurant industry. My parents owned and operated a restaurant for almost 35 years. I was a part of that for probably 20 or 25 years. To give you a little background of what we intend to do inside the building and outside the building. In the front of the property will be our main bar and restaurant area. That will be open for during the day and night. In the back of the venue where we have the music venue, that will open for karaoke and potentially live bands, any sort of entertainment, and possibly private parties, anything. It's a separate part. It's entirely separate from the restaurant. So it's something that we can use to separate and have something, private in the back. We also are planning to do a patio outside. I know there is a lot of concern about noise. We have no intention of putting a band outside. We have no intention of playing loud music outside. What we foresee is possibly background music, maybe a sporting event, Cubs game, Sox game, something like that, and possibly an acoustic guitar performance. That's not something that we plan to play into the late night. We've also, in order to ensure that we can restrict as much noise going to the neighbors, we have installed an 8-foot fence that is identical to what IDOT installs between their highway and residential areas to cut down on the sound. So that was a huge expense. We didn't have to do that, but we decided to do that just to save any sort of problem that it could have. And that patio would only be open, obviously, with weather permitting. So it's not something that will be open all year round. Our menu will consist mostly of pub burgers and chicken wings and sandwiches and salads, and we also do have pizza, a homemade pizza recipe with homemade dough and sauce and cheese. So that would probably be our biggest seller. It was in the past. So that's something that we want to bring in, we want to continue. Oh, and the other thing was there will be no smoking permitted outside.
Okay, thank you. Roberta, I have a question first. In our packet under discussions, number 7 talks about a form-based code that you were going by. Has this commission seen that form-based code?
The form-based code went before the Zoning Board of Appeals. The Zoning Board of Appeals held the public hearing and did the review of that proposed code amendment. And they voted for a positive recommendation, and it's going to the village board at the next board meeting for action.
For the petitioner, on drawing that's labeled C.2, where it shows the fence gate on the front of the outside portion. In the front, it says that there is a gate that's 3 feet. Is that 3 feet high or 3 feet wide?
Wide. It's also an 8-foot fence, but it's a see-through fence in the front and the back.
All right, because the one in the back says a gate that's 4 feet, so that makes it 4 feet wide.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, now these gates are opening to the inside instead of out. The fire department approved that? Anybody from staff?
The fire department has not reviewed that yet. We've talked about that.
And
There will have to be emergency ingress and egress of the outdoor area. They're aware of that, and the fire department will review it before building permit issuance.
And the fire marshal has come out and looked at the location, and we asked for recommendations and what the rules are. And so I know that he has relayed some things to us and said that he'd be more than happy to come back and approve or not approve to whatever
So small.
plan we have.
Supposedly it's all 8 foot. You can ask them.
All right, then on drawing L101, you show that the gate to the rear is controlled entrance and exit. Who controls that?
So we were planning on having that be an entrance and exit. I know that has been some concern. They wanted somebody to actually sit and man that entrance in order to see who would come in and out. We've kind of left that up to whatever the recommendation would be. If they just want it to be an emergency exit, we're fine with that. Whatever the recommendation would be, we're willing to follow.
Okay, also on that same drawing, it says here that the rear entrance, does that mean the public is going to be coming in off the rear as well as the?
That was something that we were proposing, but I know that that is not something that has been we haven't gotten positive feedback from it, so if that's something that is not allowed, I'm fine with just having it be an emergency exit.
Okay. So if that rear gate, if there's an emergency, who's going to be in charge of seeing that it's going to be open?
It would probably be a push.
Well, you have it labeled here as being controlled. Is it electronically controlled? You're just going to push it with a bar?
Right, I don't know that we, do we have it? Just a push,
You're just going to push a bar?
right,
All right, so it means the gate's going to open to the outside, not inside.
that's correct.
Okay. Is there any questions from the members on the commission?
Not yet. Not yet. I was just going to ask for the outdoor seating. Did you plan on having a lot of TVs? How many TVs? Or?
No, talking about it, we're thinking maybe 3 or 4.
Okay.
And I don't know that necessarily the sound would be on the TVs. I know in our past experience, it's just a visual. So, it would just be if it was an important game or somebody wanted to listen or there was a group of people, that would probably be the only reason we would turn the volume up.
Okay. And then do you plan on having additional speakers? Say there is, Cubs make it to the World Series again.
Right.
And will you have additional speakers out there for something like that or just relying on the TV speakers?
So we will have speakers, but nothing like what we're going to have inside, what we would have for a music venue or anything like that. The idea would be to just provide some sort of background music, nothing for like entertainment or a DJ or any sort of rock band or anything like that.
Okay. And then I also see that you're going to have gaming there as well. Do you plan on having security cameras like in the front and the back
Yes.
of the place?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
I think that's all I have for right now.
I have a couple questions. First off, I really like the plan.
Thank
It's
you.
laid out well.
Thank you.
It fits I'd like to see more people come to town and develop this type of a business. Question for staff, does the code require the 8-foot fence along the front?
The code does not require the 8 feet. They chose to go 8 feet
Okay.
in an attempt to try to mitigate noise.
Well, the fence in the front is a picket fence, is that correct?
It's wrought
So
iron.
it's not a noise
Oh,
barrier?
right on.
No, and that was something that was recommended, that we put the see-through. So
No, I like the see-through, I just think that 8 feet is a little tall, me personally. That's my only concern. I think a 6-foot fence, which conforms with 90% of the fences in our town, I think 8 foot reminds me of you're kind of looking at a jail. So that's just my
it
opinion
is
on it.
actually a really nice fence, and it looks like it's brick.
Mm-hmm.
And so it does have a nice look to it. It doesn't look like your standard fence.
The picket fence in the front?
I'm sorry, no.
No, I like the sound wall. I do like the
Okay.
design of that.
Okay, yes.
I'm just talking about the fence that's
Wrought
on
iron.
the front that faces the
Right.
arcing.
And we do plan to put some greenery there, some pots, things like that. So I don't think it will be just a full open. There will be some greenery. There
You
will
guys
be-
want the 8-foot fence?
We wanted the 8-foot fence because we thought it would be better for sound purposes and safety and all the other things, so.
That was the only concern I have. I just thought the 8-foot fence was a little tall. I would have liked to seen something maybe 6-foot scalloped, but that was my only question and my only concern. It's a great plan.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions?
I'm sorry, just one more follow-up. The outdoor seating is just seasonal? You're not going to,
No.
anything like put
Actually,
anything
we
up around it?
would like to put some sort of roofing or an awning or something over the entire bar, but it wouldn't be something that we could do throughout the winter.
Okay.
Jerry, no variances. That's it. Anyone else have a question? Comment? And at this time, I'd like to open up to the public. If there's-
Thank you.
We have Mike Werden.
Good evening, Mike Worden, 431 South Main Street here in Bartlett. I was just concerned, they've done a pretty good job of talking about the outdoor noise, and I was just concerned about how late it might be, because there is a residence that's almost completed above J.C.'s, and I know that Mike Kelly plans to have one at his also in the near future. And if you have music or something that's kind of a little bit loud going till 11 o'clock virtually every night, that could be kind of disturbing since it is a mixed-use neighborhood with neighbors living upstairs. She said that it's not going to be live entertainment, so perhaps it's going to be a little bit less noise than what we had anticipated. But I'm just concerned maybe having that every night might be a little bit much, and because of the residents that would be above on both sides of them. And I don't know, I thought about maybe limiting that to only weekends or not past 8 or 9 o'clock, because if people are outside, for example, at J.C.'s, they're not going to want a different type of mood music than what the food that they're eating. And it might be something that would be a disturbance to their customers. And that was my major concern.
Thank you.
Luz Alvarez?
I am Luz Alvarez, and I'm the owner of JC's Mexican restaurant. And when, I forgot your name. And Jim came to the restaurant and told me that he's going to open a restaurant. I told him exactly the same thing I told the owner on Bartlett. When he came and told me that he's going to open, when he told me he's going to open a business, I told him that's great, because then we're going to have more traffic and it will be more business open, and then Bartlett will have more choices to come to downtown area. And it probably will help us to increase business, because in wintertime it's horrible. Well, for me. I don't know for the rest of them, right? But for me, it's really, really, really slow. We dropped the sales like 50%, even more than that, on wintertime. But anyways, when he came and told me that he's going to open a business, I told him that's great, and I was happy about it, because we're going to have more business. And he said he's going to have a karaoke and inside the restaurant. I say that's great too. But when I find out that they're gonna have outside music, live music outside, I start getting concerned, because I'm planning to live upstairs. I'm trying to do the second floor, but then when my customers start asking me about it, they keep telling me, "Oh my God, you're gonna expand," and I say, "Oh no, guys, no, that's not me. It's a new business." New business is coming, and what is going to be? Well, it's going to be a pizza with a bar. And they say, "Oh, no, no, no. We have a lot of pizzas." I say, "Why don't give him a chance? Give him a chance. Because you never know until you try. Let's try it. And then you will have a choice. One night it will be the Chinese, another one will be them, another will be me, the other one will be the other ones. And then you can rotate, and you will come more often to the downtown area." And they say, "I don't know." But, well, when they find out it's going to be a live music too, some of them, they've been concerned, because sometimes it's very loud. Like when they have you know what, yesterday when somebody came to the restaurant, they were asking me about it. One of them told me, "I came when it was the O'Hare Festival, I don't know, in the pub." I don't remember the date, but anyways, they having a band outside. And they couldn't hear the music that we have, and it was mixing with their music and my music, and they couldn't hear anything. And they say, "That's going to be too much." Which I told them, it's only a couple days a year. Like the Heritage Day, Banbury has their band outside, and it's very loud. We can hear all the way down to the restaurant, which I don't mind, because it's once in a while. It's okay. And I keep telling my customers, you know what? Everybody has the right to do their own business and their entertainment, and this is just couple days. But when they told me it's going to be outside the music, that's when I get concerned. She was explaining tonight that it's not going to be too loud, and I was thinking it's going to be even worse than I was expecting. But what I said is my main concern, and some of my customers, that the music they're going to be playing and the music we're going to be playing is going to be too loud. And I hope we can work together. I'm pretty sure we can work together. My concern was, that's the main thing. That my cook lives upstairs. And he was telling me, you know what? I want to go to sleep. And I said, well, don't worry, you are on this side. I'm going to be on this side. Now, my other concern was that they're going to be smoking, and now that the weed is going to be legal in Illinois on the 20, I was concerned about that too. But she just explained that there is no smoking, thanks God, because I don't allow customers. They told me I'm not allowed to let anybody smoke in the restaurant outside. Of course, inside, but outside. I always keep telling my customers, if I see anybody smoking, please don't smoke. You have to smoke 15 feet away from the doors or from tables, because some of them are kids. I have a lot of kids. I have family, and that's my main concern. But like she just said, it's not be no smoking, and if it's not going to be smoking, that means it's not going to be smoking, none, no, any kind of smoking. And that was my concern. I think that's all what I need to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is it Louis Alvarez? Okay. Louis?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Luis Alvarez. I live at 534 Kathy Lane. I am Luz's son, and we run JC's Mexican restaurant together. Now, JC's is a family-oriented restaurant, and we strive to do that as much as we can. That's what our main focus is, to provide a hospitable environment and good food and good music and that kind of thing, good drinks. Now, so much so that, we haven't installed any of the lucrative casino machines in our business specifically because we want to maintain our status as a family-oriented business. And we feel that really goes a long way to achieve that. Now, we're happy to see new businesses coming into the downtown Bartlett area because, the more options we have, the more enthralling it will be for customers to come back and visit Chase's, despite all of our Bartlett downtowns, all the issues it faces, all the logistic issues as far as traffic, parking, and all that. So I really would hope that any new businesses that come into downtown are good enough to stay here for the long term and to bring in more business from surrounding areas, not just Bartlett. And I mean, they will be our neighbors, and we really do welcome them, and we would like them to be successful because their success also helps our success and all the downtown Bartlett area success. That being said, though, my concern is the conduct of patrons of a bar. It's inherent for a bar to be rambunctious. The noise level can be high, and the smoking is also another issue for me. I don't like the smoke. I have customers, like my mom said, that come out and they try and smoke, and we go out there and we let them know, you know what, I'm sorry. There are families here that are, trying to eat, you can't smoke. And though there are laws that state, where you can smoke, how far you can smoke, and that kind of thing, it's hardly ever enforced, and it's very difficult, and it's not very effective. Because when you're outside, there's wind, there's air that moves the smoke back to us or moves it away. So it's not really effective to any kind of regulations are not necessarily always very effective. Now, the indoor live music, we have no issue with. It's the outdoor live music that, she said, she did make a good point that she doesn't plan on, having any outdoor live music like rock or anything like that. But still, I think that would be something that would be addressed now, where it's stated, if there is any kind of limited use or when they cannot do that kind of thing. Outdoor noise will affect us, and It affects me so much so that I live within half a mile of JC's, which is, right across the railroad track. And a freight train has 80 decibels of noise, a noise level of about 80 decibels. Now, a karaoke bar, according to, Medical Journal, I believe, can have from anywhere from 95 decibels, that's the average range that they're at, up to 115 decibels. That means that if the music was at a level of 110 decibels, that's 1,000 times noisier than the freight train. And when I mentioned the freight train, I can hear the freight train from my home with the doors closed and the windows closed. That's how loud a freight train is. So if something is 1,000 times louder, I'm sure I can hear it down, half a mile away. Now, I like the fact that they did explain that, they don't plan on having any outdoor amplified music, but that's the key part, where the amplified music is what I'm really worried about. Outdoor ambiance music, that's not an issue. That's something that can be moderated, that we can talk, we can work together to try and achieve a good mix of their music and our music where it's not interfering with one another. I think that would be an ideal thing to have. And hopefully we can have more business in downtown area. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike Kelly?
Good evening, Mike Kelly. I live at 229 Patricia, and my building is 118 Bartlett Avenue, is right next door to the property there. Number one, and I wish the petitioners really good luck in their business. The outside of the building is beautiful, and it really improves the downtown. And I know they'll do a good job, and I really hope they do good. My biggest concern, I have a number of concerns, but the one I'll bring here this evening is, to echo my friend Lewis and his mother, is the noise. Just stepping it off, within about 250 feet, I just roughly counted 11 families that live within 250 feet of the property right there. The outdoor music, it will travel, the sound will travel, as everyone here knows, very, very far. The staff referenced an amplifier ordinance, and that's what they're basing it on. Well, that amplifier ordinance, as you know, that's for individual events. That's for, like Bruce would have it at Banbury Fair or at O'Hare's in the summer events and the October event, and that's fine. We can hear it on Patricia Lane very clearly, but who cares? It's 6, 7, 8 times a year. And I wouldn't be concerned if there was requests for 6 or 7 or 8 times a year, because it's a business and they should be allowed special things to do if it's a World Series or something. But if it's 7 nights a week, outdoor music, and these people seem very nice, and I'm sure they are, but they could turn around and sell this business in 6 months, and they could sell it to people that aren't so nice, and then those people will have the right to put amplifiers out there, the equivalent of what's used at the summer events, 7 nights a week, and on weekends till 11 o'clock. Clearly, Luce would be driven out of her house. She couldn't possibly live there. But it would affect everyone. I want to put an addition on top of my building. Well, I wouldn't do that if I thought the music every night, that I had to keep the windows shut. It was nice when the sound of the train went down. I would pray for the train versus the music or whatever the sound would be night after night. And we know that's what can happen. So in no way am I criticizing the petitioners as people. I'm sure they're very nice. But once the property gets the permission, it's there, and it isn't going to change. And it's better, of course, to have it less during the night, but the best addition, and I don't want to go on too long, but I've been there since 1985, so I feel very, very close to my heart, that little location there. And the best thing that happened on that street is when JC's went in. That's by far the best thing that happened. That made that street a very nice place to be. And part of it is the atmosphere in the summers when they have their light Mexican music out there going very silently or quietly. Music is great. It's when it's so loud, it's going to deafen everything else. It will wreck the atmosphere that currently exists, and then it will prevent sleeping from people in the evening. And I remind this board that just, I think it's this week or last week or coming up week, the village is doing this overall plan for downtown. And as you know, a big part of it is the mixed use. If you recall, they tore down the factories across the way to bring in people. That's what they wanted. They encouraged residences up above the buildings. So the whole plan is to bring people down here. You will drive them away with outdoor music. And I know that's nice for a business to have, but I've been in bars all my life, many a bar, and the vast majority don't have outdoor music, and most of them do very well. So I wish them well, but I do request that you think strongly about the outdoor noise. Thank you.
Thank you.
John, and I'm sorry, Izzard? Okay. Okay.
When my wife and I received this letter, this certified letter in the mail, I immediately took out a copy of the Bartlett zoning map. It's a very large-scale map, and I measured the distance from the new restaurant to the home that my wife and I share, and it was right about 400 feet. Now, this is my big concern, which I've been hearing here, is the noise factor. I mean, that's 400 feet as the crow flies. And the letter talks about having inside and outside entertainment. Now, I don't know just what form of entertainment. I assume it's a band of some sort. Maybe one of these hard rock and roll type of bands, maybe even heavy metal music, God forbid. But to have that playing till the wee hours of the night, at 11 o'clock at night, most every night of the week, I don't know. This is all where our concern lies. And I mean, I'll ask you, if you were in our boat, how would you like to be that close to that much noise every night in your home? That's all my concern is. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Is there anyone else in the audience that has a comment or question from the public? Anyone else? When I close the public portion? Yes.
I just wanted to say a couple
Okay,
things
go on.
to clarify, maybe to put some people at ease a little bit. When we talk about having karaoke and having live bands, I don't know if anybody knows anything about the construction of the building, but it is an all-concrete brick building. So I don't foresee there being any noise amplifying outside of the building. We're also not talking about like a hair bands or craziness where the music's screeching and it would be disruptive. We really want to be good neighbors. I do understand everybody's concern, and I do understand that people live close to the area. When we talk about having entertainment outside, it would be something very similar to what they play at JC's. It would be a background light music, just something to kind of give there an atmosphere. And when I say live entertainment outside, I mean acoustic. I mean one guy with his guitar singing. So I don't foresee it being a problem, and I would think that would be something that would happen on the weekends. If there's any sort of noise during the week, I would have to say that it would be because a Cubs game is on or a Sox game is on and somebody wants to listen to the commentary. So we do want to be good neighbors. We feel that a new business will bring good business and it'll bring it for everybody. And that's kind of what we want to do, is to be better for the community and, you know, just to be a good part of it. So I hope that'll satisfy a couple of the concerns. The one other thing I did want to say was when we first proposed this, we did ask and offer to provide a designated smoking area in the back of the property. Because I can see that it would be an issue if people went out front to smoke and there were people sitting there eating dinner. I would be bothered by that. That was something that was not recommended, so we kind of let that go. But I do want the neighbors to know that that was something that was on our mind, that we didn't want it to be a burden or be any sort of problem for anybody else. But that was something that the village didn't think would be necessary. I understand they didn't want to promote smoking. You know, it's just the way it is. Some people smoke. And, you know, just trying to cure everything ahead of time, we did think about all those things, and we did want to try and resolve them before we came, and people got upset and, you know, just didn't know what we were going to do. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the members?
Yes, I'm actually interested, in why not a designated smoking area in the back? Was that something from staff or the zoning board, or, because I think that would be probably a good thing to have as a designated area.
It was just something that we proposed in one of our first meetings when we met with a couple of the village people, just to say that, hey, we know this is going to be an issue because there are all those businesses. I mean, and we have that area on the east side, which isn't lit between the two buildings. I'm sure they don't want people back there. So we were trying to solve the problem, but because it wasn't something that, you know, was.
I mean, there's going to be people that are going to smoke, so it's either they're going to go out in the front, 15 feet from the door, which is going to be over by somewhere, another business, or they're going to be out in the street. There's no room in the front for people to go smoke. So they're going to have to cross the street and go over by the tracks.
Right.
So why not figure out something in the back? I
kind of thought
I think that's a logical thing.
Just
that
something
should
with
be
a
put
roof. I mean, nothing to promote it, not a house.
People are going to do it. We got to have a safe place for them to go. We don't want them crossing the street. We don't need any other additional liabilities.
And in the back, it wouldn't interfere with anybody.
Yeah, and it gets people out of the way. That's,
So, I mean, we're open to it.
if there's room in the back, I don't know how the other commissioners feel, but I think it's probably something that you would want to get people so, and, you know, make it so they're not lingering back there. That's the other thing that you're going to have to make sure of.
Of course.
But I'm sure, you know, you guys can figure out a way with that, but
I mean, I don't want to cause another problem by saying,
No, but-
that was something that we did take into consideration, and I
yeah,
don't
no, I
want
think
it to be
it's.
disruptive to people.
I think that'd be better than having a bunch of people out in the front smoking, and then when people are coming around to look for a place to eat or something like that, they just see people out in the front smoking everywhere. Rather keep people in the back.
Right.
I think if they're out front, you're going to have a problem with, they got to stand out in the parking lot.
Yeah, there's
They're gonna be
not 15
disturbing-
feet from the door.
When they have people eating outdoors at J.C.'s, you're going to be disturbing those people.
Right.
Are you going to be people standing in front of Mr. Kelly's business?
Correct.
So you're probably better off, you have like a line 15 feet behind the back gate. Say, please go smoke in the back if you need to smoke, because let's face it, a lot of people that dine and drink, they're smokers.
There is,
They need somewhere to go.
right.
I think it would be best to put something in the motion, but let the village board decide. You know, because obviously you'll have to draw something up.
Sure.
Give it to the village board, let the village board discuss it and figure out the best solution. Because I honestly think that would be probably good to have a designated area for people to go.
I would
It's
rather
just
tell
safer.
them, go out there versus in the front.
I think the only thing that you'll have to figure out the logistics of it, because if you do have a band going, and then they open up a back door to get out there,
Right.
you're gonna have sound that's gonna
Right.
bleed through there. So maybe they go through a side door, and then what was supposed to be an emergency exit, maybe that leads to that section, or you gate off some of that.
Right, we
I
can
don't know.
work it out
You
and-
guys can,
See what works.
to figure out for that. But as far as like the live entertainment outside or the music outside, if one business is already having music outside, even if it's just speakers, there's no reason why you can't have it as well.
Right, and we don't want it to interfere. You know, it's,
Well, with your 8-foot fence, and if you angle the speakers correctly.
That's why we did that.
That's going to be the biggest thing.
Right.
Having an acoustic person out there, obviously, they're still going to have to be somewhat amplified.
Right.
But keeping it at a normal level, and I don't foresee that's going to be an every night thing, just judging by the other downtown businesses here, there's no way it could be an every night thing. But I don't see an issue with that. This is a downtown business, and we got to make a choice. Are we having downtown businesses and allowing this, or are we going to say, have your business, but we're going to regulate it so much that nobody's going to come to it? And so, for me, we got to allow people, but within reason.
Right.
Within reason, and I think you have met those reasons.
Thank you. We're trying to be good neighbors, and I know nobody's coming here trying to tell something bad. I know we all want to have a good relationship. I understand their concerns, and I just did want to address that we thought about all that ahead of time. Those were all things that, you know, we've talked about multiple times, so.
I agree with Commissioner Hopkins that the smoking should be in the rear as well. Our Bartlett tap in town, nobody's out front smoking in Bartlett tap. Every time I go past, they're in the back.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that is definitely, I would definitely.
I'll, when we get to that portion, I'll put an amendment on to the motion for the village board to look into that as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I just add to that as a member of staff? We went through how many different site plans? A lot. We did on this. This area is just so tight here. And what we were trying to do is maintain as much of the parking as we could. So this is a very narrow lot. So you need space for cars to maneuver here. So it's really it was difficult for us to find a spot to build. They were looking at building kind of like a deck area or something, a permanent improvement back there. And the back of that site was just really tight for that.
Oh,
That site 100% paved? Yes. It is. There's no curbing, correct?
There is curb, but it is almost the width of the lot.
So I guess my question is, why couldn't they just designate a painted striped area with a sign that says smoking area in the back? I mean, just something simple, not a shed or a facility to smoke in. We don't need a smoke house.
If it was raining or snowing, there would be some sort of cover, but that is absolutely fine as well.
I'm
yeah, at least if they're in the back. I think that's the.
And a
that's
sign on the front door that says
There's enough
designated
space
smoking in
and
the back.
not as many cars back there.
And I can see it is tight back there, so. Is that employee parking back there?
Yes.
Okay.
Anyone else have a comment or question?
How many people are you going to have servicing the restaurant and the bars?
Employees?
Yes.
Well, I would say during the summer, when we are at full staff, there would probably be 10 to 15. But that's going to be only when everything is up and running. During the day-to-day operations, I would say.
We need you at the mic so that we're recording this.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. We just want you to be heard.
Sorry. I would say that during the summer, when we have everything up and going, if we had something going on in the back and the front, it could be anywhere from 12 to 15. But I would say that the day-to-day, with just having in the front open, our main restaurant and bar, maybe 3, 4. You know, that's obviously going to be something that we're going to have to figure out as we get into the business and what kind of business we get when we're busy and, you know, as far as staffing. So it's something I think we're going to have to learn as we go along.
Well, I was just thinking about parking. I mean, you know, you got enough problems with parking now
Right.
with people, you know, trying to get to your place to begin with. And you've only got a few spots in the back to park.
Right. 3.
Which I would assume would be yours and, you know, somebody else,
Right.
not the rest of your employees. And as far as, how about handicap parking?
Just what's available in front.
There was only a couple spots in the front across by the train station.
Right.
Okay, so you're open during the day, you somebody at handicap, those are usually taken. What, you know, I mean, I've got a walker.
Sure.
And I, you know, if I
Sure.
was coming there and there was no place to park, I'd say forget it.
Right. I understand that.
And I know that there's handicap parking, you know, just across the street by the train station, but there's only a couple spots.
And I think, you know, if we had parking in the back, I don't know how we could get somebody to come around with a walker because you would have to come around JC's.
I
so-
know, that, you know, that wouldn't work either. So, I mean, you know,
That might be something that the village has to
think about.
Maybe that's something also that the village could designate some more parking spots for handicapped. I don't know who controls that, or if that's something we have to petition.
The parking in the front is, and along the street is the village's parking. So I want to say, I recall there is a handicap space on that row, if I'm not mistaken. Mike?
First stall is handicap.
Yes, so there is handicap parking. Yes, you might have to walk a little bit, but that's something that maybe we can look at if we need to install additional handicap parking, that the staff can look at that. But I know there is handicap parking there, Jerry.
Well, I know that.
Okay.
My own personal opinion, but your entertainment live, indoor, outdoor, now I understand what you're saying, but as far as I'm concerned, I'd stay away from outdoor completely. No audio, no video. You want to sit out there. You know, you talk about an 8-foot fence, this is going to control your sound. It's not going to.
Not entirely, no.
You're going to get enough people out there, they're talking, this table's talking, this table's going to talk louder, that one's going to talk louder, and it's going to resound out of there. I don't care how hard you try. I live a good distance from the stadium at Bartlett High School, and I can understand, and I can hear in my house, I can hear the game as they're announcing it. And you've got people that are living close by, people living right next door upstairs. You know, it's not going to get, you're not going to be able to keep it quiet. I don't care how hard you try. You're not going to keep it quiet. And as far as having TVs out there or something, somebody's going to, well, turn it a little louder, turn it a little louder, so we can hear it, because everybody else is talking. So this way, if you don't have anything out there, you don't have to worry about it. Same thing with, that's one of your problems here is with the signage. You want 60 feet of signage. And I'm saying that the signage should be what our ordinance calls for.
Okay.
I mean, you know, we keep strict with that on all the businesses. That's no more time than you. The restaurant closes at 9:30. So I would say, okay, Sunday through Thursday, you close at 9:30. Not the restaurant in there, but the outside. 10:30 on Friday and Saturday. Well, if you can agree with that, I mean, this is something, you know, I know our ordinance says you can have it till 11 o'clock. You know, you're too close to too many houses, and then, like I say, people living right next door on the second floor.
Right, I understand your concern. And when we initially talked and they had said that they were going to restrict the sound at 11 and 10 o'clock, we were okay with that. But
I'd say 10 o'clock already is, you know, some people are, you know, they got to get up early to go to work.
True.
And even though you're saying that the sound out there would be, you know, I'm saying just voices is enough. It's going to resound out there no matter what. I had a few other things here. But those are, you know, those are my concerns, and those are something that when, you know, we make a motion, I'd like to just put that in the motion. So, I mean, yeah, I'm restricting your time for outside, but I think it's best for everybody. I know there's, you know, your you know, your crowd, that maybe like to drink and everything else, would be there later, and I may be messing you up on that. But, I mean, I'm just thinking of people around you, the people next door to you. And, I mean, if anybody else is going to have apartments on top of the building very close, you know, it's, smoking, I agree with him here. I mean, it's just, I don't want, you know, just general smoking in there, that's all. I mean, that, you know, because you're going to end up people smoking pot and everything else, and, you know, it just, although that's going to be legalized, so I guess, I don't know, what are you going to do about it? But those are my points that I have. It's, you know, how many gambling machines are you going to have?
We haven't applied for the license as of yet, and I think they allow,
You get 5?
can
You
do
get 5
yeah,
Do 6
per
now.
license?
yeah, whatever they allow, and I'm not sure exactly. I know it's changed recently, so I'm not sure.
Okay, because the thing is, you drew in, you know, 8 spaces, and I'm thinking, oh, how are they going to get 8 machines?
Right.
There.
Right, because
I
there is a
think it's just
cash
5.
payout as well, so that almost looks like another machine, so we wanted to just give the, what it would look like inside that room.
And you did a very good job of keeping the music venue away from the rest of it.
Yes.
Because I was thinking, you know, you'd have a band or you'd have, you know, entertainment going, and then the music is going to, you know, blast into the restaurant. And if somebody were to just sit down and eat and be, you know, nice family dinner.
Yeah, our kitchen is actually in between the
Yeah.
two, so it's a
Yeah,
pretty
I mean,
big
you did a
space.
very good job on that, a very good job. So those are my concerns, and like I say, that, you know, I'm going to, and I'm just telling you ahead of time, I'm going to put some of this in with the motion, and if we all agree on it, then it's up to the board to decide on what they want to do.
I understand. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Yeah, let me say something. I think this day and age, though, for a business to be successful, you can't expect them to have an outdoor eating area and to shut down TVs and everything at 9:30. The younger crowd, they're going to expect video, if nothing else. They won't sit outside with no TVs, no sound. You're going to have a hard time having a successful restaurant with an outdoor venue without at least having video. Maybe you're going to have to turn the sound down at 9:30, 10, 10:30, but
Right.
you're going to struggle to make it if you don't have video at least outside. So I think we need to consider that. We've got to hope these businesses succeed here.
I agree with Commissioner Allen. I also feel that if you're going to restrict one, you have to restrict all. And we have multiple outdoor seating areas in downtown Bartlett, and I don't believe we've had a restriction on any of those that they have to close at 9 o'clock. So I don't, unfortunately, I do just, with all due respect, I disagree on the 9 o'clock hour. So I agree with Commissioner Allen that you build a business, we want you here for the long haul. Your success is the village's success. The last thing we want to see is you invest a ton of money into the facility and then a vacancy sign go up. So that's where my position is on it.
Yeah, I agree. We got more brewing going in, and they have a lot of outdoor seating. And we had them here. We didn't restrict their outdoor seating time, and they're right across the street. And so we can't say one business, we do one thing, and another does another thing. If one place, even if it's right next door, has outdoor music playing, you're allowed to do it as well. You know, that's how I look at it. If they don't want you doing it, then they can't do it. Then we got to figure out a solution for that, but.
Anyone else have any comments?
You guys did a really good job mitigating a lot of the noises and concerns. Obviously, part of being a successful business with social media today is obviously being good neighbors. So you know, it's going to be something that you and neighbors, if this gets passed, that you guys would have to definitely work out. And I think that's, you know, in my opinion, that's how you be a successful business, so.
Okay. Before we have a motion, Jerry, you had quite a few items there that I'd like to see if the board has a consensus to agree with you to, because if you put one of those in the motion,
Yeah, it's not going to,
members on the board might vote it different than what they really want to vote. So why don't you bring up one of those items again, and let's see what the members on the commission had to.
Well, no, they made they made it clear about the time. I mean, I still feel that, you know, some restriction should be done. I mean, for the people living around them and, you know. I mean, you know, just voices alone is gonna be noisy enough. And, you know, and it, you know, thing is too, that when you mentioned about the TVs out there, it's, you know, it's a horrible thing to say, but, you know, I mean, how well are you gonna be protected with it? If somebody isn't gonna climb over that 8-foot fence and walk off with your TVs. That, you know, that's another thing I had, you know, I was thinking of. It's just, you know, it's,
we're going to have
I
cameras.
mean, I can understand what you're doing, and I can understand everything, you know, that you want to do. But it's just that I look at it the other way. Say, okay, how much are you going to be protected on this stuff? It's, you know.
Okay. Is there anyone on the commission that agrees with Jerry's ideas, thoughts here?
No.
No one.
I like what staff recommends on the outdoor seating times.
I agree.
And I think that 8-foot tall fence is going to be the best sound barrier that we probably have in the Bartlett for any of the outdoor seating. A lot of them don't even go up to 8-foot tall. So I think this petitioner's gone above and beyond to try to become, you know, to be a good neighbor and has addressed that. And we want the success of this business.
Could staff add 2 other, just clarification conditions? Renee, why don't you?
I just jotted these down from what I was hearing. It sounded like you guys might be interested in adding a condition that no amplified live entertainment outdoors.
Correct.
I would restrict that, because if for one night they want to have an acoustic player out there, they have to amplify some way. It's not an electric guitar, but it's not that. You could use a wattage, say they have to be under 500 watts or something, because you can't, an acoustic guitar and just vocally singing, they will not, nobody would hear them. It would be a moot point to even have anything out there. So they have to have some type of amplification. I don't like that language in there.
You don't want to limit that at all?
You want to limit it to 10?
I don't want to limit the use of the word of amplification of music, of that, because again, I think there might be one night a week they want to have somebody out there. Maybe it's a Saturday night or one of the weeknights when one of the other local businesses aren't having a music that night. But maybe it's saying it's limited to only, you know, 2 people can perform. That way you're not having an electric guitar player. You're not having, you know, a full-size drum set. You're not having all of this. You might have somebody with a small cajon and then an acoustic guitar. But again, it's going to be amplified, just not to the level of a regular band.
So outdoor live entertainment limited to single musicians and duets or duos or?
What if it was just limited to like Friday, Saturday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, something
I
like
would,
that
I wouldn't restrict their days, because I know, like with Bartlett Tap and Pasta Mia and O'Hara's, I know they have talked about, well, they're doing music this night, we're gonna do it this night so we don't interfere with them. And so that might be something they want to consider. So if we say, oh, they can only do it this night, it's really gonna restrict them.
that if a holiday falls on a weekday.
Correct,
So,
yeah.
I agree.
And but as far as that,
We say no live bands.
you can say that, but then it's such a vague term, because what's a band? It's a one-man band.
Okay, okay, all right.
That's why I think you gotta leave it as is, and if they exceed whatever our code is for sound levels,
Okay.
somebody can call the police and say, hey, this is a violation of our code, give them a citation.
All right.
The other one I would suggest is work with staff to find appropriate space for designated smoking area on the rear of the lot.
The rear or the north side, yeah.
What do you think of that?
I think it's a good idea.
Okay, so we would add that to,
To the motion.
I mean, even if you have a
Not
painted
yet.
line.
Motion hasn't been,
15 feet from the-
Not.
Even if you had a painted line 15 feet from the rear door and just say, please go smoke beyond the line if you want to
okay,
smoke.
okay.
We're going to smoke.
Or if you had a sign by the front door that says, there's a smoking area in back, please go there.
Okay.
In front of the trash enclosure, next to the trash enclosure, seems like a suitable place, in my opinion.
That might be too close.
Yeah, I don't know if
I
that's
think-
15. That was the trouble
Yeah, that-
we were having. was-
Street from a door, yes.
Yeah.
So we would prefer it further away from the building, so, yeah. But we'll work with them on that. That's fine.
It seems like they're willing to.
I don't think anybody wants to stand by the trash dumpster. No. I wouldn't.
The grease storage.
No.
Okay, we're done with discussion, we ready for a motion?
What about the sign ordinance?
that's,
The variation was, the public hearing for the variation request was reviewed and recommended for approval by the Zoning Board of Appeals.
So what?
That is outside your purview. So you have made your comments, and they are on the record, and they will be in the minutes. But the Zoning Board of Appeals reviewed that variation request.
I don't see what I'm thinking.
Okay, then. We have a motion to approve the petitioner's request for a site plan and a special use permits, subject to the conditions and findings in fact, and the notes that staff has. And you wanted to add
well, they covered it.
what they have there?
They covered it.
Okay.
So moved.
Wait, so the motion is, what,
The standard
Proposed by
motion and
staff.
then what we just discussed.
adding the smoking area to work with staff on the designation of the smoking area?
Correct.
And handicap parking.
Well, that's the village,
Yeah,
that's a
that'd be-
village thing that we will take a look at. So Austin, you made the motion?
I think Diane,
Diane did? Okay,
I'll second it, though.
okay,
If nobody else did, I didn't hear.
okay.
Okay, we have a motion and second? Oh, yeah, it's a-
Seconded.
oh, you second,
No,
right?
Austin seconded it first.
Austin seconded. Come on, wake up.
We're good.
Okay. Secretary call the roll?
Jerry Callis,
No.
Diane Nagel,
Yes.
Dan Gunstein? Yes. Austin Hopkins?
Yes.
Jack Allen?
Yes.
John Miasso?
Yes.
And I think we're good. We have 5, yes. That's it.
Okay. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you. Good luck. Did you have an estimated time once it's approved by the village board? Okay, that's pretty quick. It's right around the corner.
Let's get stuck here.
Call the police.
The hours at 10 o'clock.
I mean, that's why I'm like, I'm dying here, because I've been sick for so long, for 2 weeks.
Okay, next item on our agenda is old business and new business.
So you each got your little either water bottles or certificates. It's that time of year again. We usually do it in December, at the end of the last meeting of the year, but I don't think you're going to have a meeting next month. So we had to push it up a month. But I did want to recognize Jim Lemberg for celebrating his 40 years as being either a Plan Commission member or the chairman, so it's pretty incredible. And he will be honored, he doesn't know this yet, but we're going to honor him at the village board meeting, I think in January.
January, they're going to honor you in January at the village board meeting.
Honor in
So you
January.
have to go to that.
Yes, are you going to be here, Jim? I don't know, but we also, Mike Weirden is going to be honored alongside Jim, and we have an EDC member as well, so there'll be 3 of you again. So, but thank you very much for your service. We just want to, just a little token. It depends on, each person's is a little different. It depends on how many years you've served. When you have a 5-year, 10-year, or 15, 20-year anniversary, you get a little gift card or a little something extra. So it all depends on how long you've been on the commission. So this year, Dan got a duffel bag. You missed the spiel about the service recognition. You're the newest member, so you've got the first little gift that we give, yeah.
Roberta,
What's that?
it's a long time.
It is. It is.
16 years, this is what I got.
Right, so yours is next. So thank you, we just want to say thank you again. We really appreciate it. And then next on the agenda, did you see that?
Oh, what's this about?
Yeah, how about that? I need to turn on the lights.
You don't want to,
We have Chromebook training
Are we
because
actually-
guess what? We're going green.
Are we
We're not-
keeping these?
no more paper?
Yes,
Wow, you guys have a lot of trust in us.
that is correct. And you will be able to enlarge and view
Yeah.
things, because I know like
I don't know how
tonight
to
it was
use the
hard to
computer.
see.
How am I gonna?
These were really hard.
You're just going to have to ask me to print it out for you.
Okay. You know, I'm too old for this stuff. I'm not gonna be able to pick this up.
Ah, you're as young as you feel.
It weighs 10 pounds. I know. How am I gonna carry it?
What happened to the lights? We got
Does
lights.
this mean we're getting village emails as well?
It's getting cold. It's getting cold in here.
Really? I'm surprised. I'm figured we get, for FOIA reason, we
It's a
get
little chilly
regular.
down on the floor here.
My hands are freezing.
We need more heated discussion or something.
Oh, yeah, we haven't closed the meeting yet.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's being monitored.
Yeah, can I reject this?
It outsourced to Russia.
These are British shotguns.
Just like my Alexa at my
Get the
Same ones
elephant,
we have
man.
in school.
Every meeting?
You can easily fit that in there.
They're very simple. It's very simple. You've got directions.
Hands been working.
Leave it here.
I think we're going over it, though.
Oh, you put every,
What?
Do you want to run through it?
Yeah.
In your packet, on the first page is something for you to sign and return to us.
Yeah, go right ahead.
I'm Plan Commissioner 9. Is that what it is?
Commissioner 9. The number. So that's the first page. We'll need this signed and returned. And what you're signing is that you read this document, which talks about the retention of emails. So basically, just don't delete your emails. We'll be sending you emails, just keep them on there, 'cause it's not gonna hurt anything.
what,
And if someone ever FOIA'd all the information on a petition or whatever, then you would have to turn over.
you're still gonna
I'd
send
rather have it all on this.
emails regular.
You're going to be able to make this really big, Jerry.
The first month or so, the next couple meetings.
Hey, I can't use the computer. Give me a break.
Your new Gmail
No, I
and your
can't.
old email, just to make sure that everyone sees it.
What's my password?
And then after that, we'll just.
You guys can have it so it forwards. You can have your Gmail here forward to your other email, so you can at least know when you get a notification.
Your personal email won't be combined, yes.
So you can just
So you don't have to
forward
download.
anything.
You'll have to go into the settings, but you can set a forward, so it forwards to your regular
Let
email.
somebody do it for me.
Nobody will probably do it for you.
Oh,
Have Dan do it.
Yeah.
Daniel will do it.
So then, the last thing in your packet is our instructions.
Open Chromebook, Jerry, see? Open. It's very
And
simple.
at the top, you have your new Gmail address, your Bartlett PC 123456789, and your password.
What's the default of that? Are these passwords set up as a default?
No.
Everybody's got a business?
It's the same combination on my luggage.
So, and we can't change it, right? Right here, where you turn on, it says password.
Okay.
There.
So we can go through if you want.
It's in your sheet.
Passwords.
Oh,
Okay, mine is really weird.
Are we gonna be able to change that?
Mine is really weird.
I don't think I'm gonna be able to.
Really? Did you see some of these passwords?
I did.
Did
If
you?
you change it, you can change it, but you
Yeah.
need to give it to me.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah, if you want to change it.
You can?
Yes, but just, you have to let us know what it is.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, I'm in, so now what?
Your password present connected to your home internet. Or you automatically, when you're here, it's automatically going to connect to the village's internet. I can forward. Do the same with Beavis. But this is automatically, and then just follow directions with the pictures?
Yeah, so we'll just quickly run through, I know Austin's already done. Yeah. So after you open it, it should come up with, the screen should have your Gmail account, and then it should be blinking on the word password. And then you put your password in to get it. Yes.
Just the top one?
Oh, no. Yes, I sent you all an email so that you can see what your emails will look like with the link. So what we'll do is your packets from now on, we'll just send you a link to. Yeah, this is the one that I took home and showed.
I have a question for you. So you're sending the packet to this email, correct?
We're sending a link to the packet.
Okay, so how am I gonna know when that shows up on here?
That's what I was saying, the first couple of months, we'll send the link to, or at least send a notice to your old email.
To your regular email we have on file and this one. Send it both. That's how they go.
Are we permitted to put the Gmail onto our personal devices, or does it have to stay on the Chromebook? Because then I would get notification of it.
I think you can, as long as it's on the Chromebook, so we can. Yeah, it's your choice. It won't matter. It's gonna, yeah, yeah.
So my email, my name at Bartlett.
Your email?
My email account.
It's on the top. Yeah, it's your Bartlett PC7 at gmail.com.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
You're set.
I got your email, so I'm good.
Okay, yeah.
Who's number one?
I'm gonna move it to spam.
Jim is
giving me the
Come on, spam.
Actually, when I
don't know her number.
first logged on to the first one and sent something, it went right to the spam folder.
Oh, really?
So hopefully I got
I'll
filter
edit my
right
filters.
to make sure that you got it. And then I also took off the social and promotion, so you just
Oh,
have
you did
one
good. I
folder
can
on
also
there.
edit the filters too, so I make
Yeah,
sure.
you can. Yeah, but it should be.
Go into your, oh, that's right.
Using it twice a month. Wants to review it, wants to bring here to review it.
So the tricky part is gonna be connecting to your internet service at home.
Does the password have,
I would think so.
does it have to be password protected?
Yes.
It does.
It does. And
Because you might want to change it to just 1, 2, 3. So there's no case sensitivity.
We did not make these up. No, IT did. Here you go. Look at
Saturday night training.
Yeah.
The whole, where'd you get these?
The CBA is getting them next month, and the board's had they've had theirs for years. We've asked for it for a couple of years, and they said no. When I substantiated how much it costs us to do paper packets, postage, the envelopes, the time, stamp time, and it's a burden on our copy machine. And we've been doing it in color.
This goes right in the garbage. I never print anything out. At work, I don't. I got 47,000 emails that go all the way back to 2014. I keep everything, but I never print it out.
So we're trying to go green. It's good. And so these were refurbished, so we saved even more money.
I don't know if you guys talked, is there going to be a meeting in December?
That's why we did the service recognition tonight. Normally it's December.
What days,
Oh, yeah. And the instruction. So this is tied with that's my direct. When you are here, it is. When you're here, it goes into your Wi-Fi. Yes, yes. But it automatically.
He's got to put a password for his Wi-Fi.
Something goes wrong with the computer, it's not a hack.
Okay, all right. No, it should be okay.
Wait, we got to adjourn.
The holiday party is Friday the 13th, December 13th.
Joe?
Friday the 13th.
That's it.
Hang on.
We have 4 feet of snow.
Mr. Chairman, do you want to adjourn the meeting?
Austin?
You want to,
It's not going.
you want to adjourn the meeting? You want to adjourn the meeting?
I'm in charge of the meeting.
Adjourn the meeting.
No, I don't want to. I'm having fun.
It's like Christmas
Have
here.
fun without it.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Aye.